Test, test. Can you hear me now? How about now? Test, test. I'm getting lines now. Oh, dear Lord. What a week. There we go. All right. Good morning. Let's try this again. I think we're going to call this Fritz and Friends. Welcome to the stream. This is Fritz and Friends. My name is Jeff Fritz. I'm a program manager for Microsoft on the .NET teams, but this isn't a Microsoft stream. And it's been a trying last week here. We've been dealing with a number of challenges. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to stream on Twitch this morning, but it looks like we do have that working. Mixer, of course, is hooked up, and it looks like we're hitting that properly as well. And I see some folks chiming in there from the Mixer chat room. Thanks so much. I normally like to do a lot of live coding on this, but I want to spend some time up front here talking about personal security, talking about the challenge that I've been running into here over the past 24 hours. Some other housekeeping, of course, up front. The music in the background. This is Music to Code by Carl Franklin. Today we're listening to Blue. This is the name of this song. This is one of the originals, released in 2015. I really enjoy this song. So you may have heard it before on the stream. Carl has graciously given us permission to use it. Thank you, Carl, and we're going to continue to listen to Music to Code by. We really enjoy it. If you enjoy it, check out Music to Flow by, a new app that'll give you all this music on a regular basis. You can subscribe and get a great selection of this delivered to you. And his latest that he's releasing here for January is amazing. I really like that song, and I'm going to get my hands on it, and I want to play it during one of the streams. I've been working on my setup, and that's why it was a little bit tricky for me to get up and running here. I've hooked up things here. John McBride, thank you for following. I appreciate that. And I also saw Isaac. Thank you, Isaac, for joining us. I appreciate the follow over there. So I've been going through and tuning my setup here a little bit, and I've now got an external powered USB hub with all my things plugged into it, and that's why some things weren't lining up quite right as I was signing in here. I'm also in the process of using an Elgato video capture so that I can reduce network traffic and try and make things connect and run a little bit better here, especially when I'm on the road and I can't rely on being on my own home network. For those of you that haven't seen, I've written a blog post that summarizes my setup. I have a production machine here that is actually gluing together all the bits that you see here on the video stream, and then the actual machine that I code on is sitting here behind me, and I remote desktop into it, and that's my stage, if you will, that shows Visual Studio, my browser, and all those things, so that all of that processing is over on another machine and not on the machine that's doing all my video work. So I'm looking at moving that around and using this Elgato video capture to input, to deliver that content. It'll work great when I'm speaking at a user group, on the road, in a hotel room, different places that I'll need to be able to do that. I'm seeing there is a little bit of a delay when I use that device. I'm going to have to work that out, but today I'm using my remote desktop configuration. So, all right, that's a little bit about what's going on here. Now I want to talk about what happened to me in the last 24 hours and things that are going on that are kind of crazy here, and I can't really show you a screen that shows what's going on here. But I just want to take 5 minutes and discuss this before I dig into our code and start working on our project today. I received an email at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time yesterday saying, hey, this is Amazon, and we see that you've changed your password. We're sending you a notification, not changed your password, changed your email on your Amazon account, and here's the new email address that we're going to start using as your login and for all communication going forward. Thanks so much for working with customer service to have this changed. What? I didn't change that. And it clearly wasn't one of my email addresses. In fact, it was John Doe at yahoo.com. That wasn't his name. I'm using that just so I don't give credit to the person who happened to make off with my account here. The worrying thing about this to me was my credit cards are on this account. My business credit cards are on this account. My business access to things like Twitch, my purchase history is on that, and I've got my Amazon Echo device at home and a bunch of my home automation things wired up to that same account. So this is a real problem. And I called them immediately after I got the email, after I noticed the email, and spoke to them about the problem. And it turned out the person I spoke to, who wasn't American, and that's fine, they said that somebody in customer service changed the email address for me when I called and gave my name, email address, and home address. I quickly checked haveibeenpwned.com, the website my friend Troy Hunt runs, and there is a spammer dump of names, email addresses, and home addresses out there that my name appears in. Great. So that's how I believe they got my information, and I asked them to I asked Amazon to shut off spending capabilities, disable the account so that it can't be logged into, and lock it down. And they did that, and they said they would refer me to their fraud detection department. And they said that department would be open today starting at 5 a.m. Pacific time. 5 a.m. Pacific time is 8 a.m. Eastern time. It was about 2 hours ago. So I called Amazon this morning and said, hey, I want to talk to someone in your fraud department about this, start getting to the bottom of it, because I want a full report. I want to know what happened. Did it come in through social engineering? Somebody in their customer service department was told, hey, change Jeff's email address to this, even though my name is not Jeff. Even though the email address not only doesn't have Jeff's name in it, it has somebody completely different's name in it. Not cool. And, oh, by the way, I'm nearly positive they weren't calling from my area code. So I called, and they told me, well, we'll have that fixed for you. It'll have to go through our fraud department. It'll take a few days for us to get back to you. Wait, what? That means I can't use my Echo for a few days. That means I can't buy anything from Amazon for a few days. That means I can't use Amazon Video for a few days. There's a new Grand Tour coming out tomorrow. I want to be able to watch Jeremy Clarkson be silly driving cars through European mountainside. Not cool. So I asked to speak to a manager and calmly spoke through the situation with them. And yes, Ian, you're right. A few days is ridiculous. What if I do use AWS? What if I was a Amazon Cloud customer and I wasn't able to access those things? Even not having access for 6 hours, 12 hours may be completely unacceptable. And I voiced those concerns. And they promised to raise the issue, and they said we should have it back to you within the next 5 hours. All right, 5 hours. So I'm waiting to hear. I'm monitoring my email. I have it up on my machine over here, and we'll see if I get some information about my account being available again. So that's the story. What I understand now is that there is two-factor authentication available for Amazon services. However, it's not something that they promote and make front and center for you. Hey, somebody's been trying to log into your account. Hey, we've got a couple security concerns here. We recommend you configure two-factor authentication. And yes, absolutely, I will be configuring two-factor authentication now that I know it exists over there. And resetting. I've been going through and resetting a number of passwords this morning, getting that all set up. So that was my experience over the last 12 hours, continuing, trying to work through and find out what happened to my accounts here. Completely not cool. I do believe it was social engineering that got my account transferred. I've heard from a number of security professional friends that have said that this is a common occurrence. Ravenmaster, two-factor will not save you in social engineering cases. I was told by the folks on the phone that they will enforce that two-factor authentication even over the phone. I had it recommended to me that I changed the email address on my Amazon account to something that I don't use, to some other, almost a dummy email account, and have it forward those emails, service emails from Amazon, to my normal, proper account. I think I've got one or two folks in the security circle that I consider good friends that I'm going to speak to about this and figure out what I can do to lock things down a little bit. But I do appreciate the recommendations here. I am, first and foremost, I am turning on two-factor, but other steps I do after that are up in the air. Amazon does a clever thing with two-factor for devices that can't support it. They make you add the code to the password. Interesting. Okay. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I'm going to blog. You're welcome, Rich. I'm going to blog this in a little bit. My father, who lurks on Twitter, he originally got on Twitter just so he could see folks talking about different stocks that he was playing with. He saw me tweet about this morning and called me. Oh, what happened? Do I need to change my password? What's going on there? And I want to make sure that I explain and share this information with my parents. My parents are used to using two-factor authentication devices, going back even to the old days with E-Trade and the little token they sent you in the mail, right? The little key fob almost that had the LCD with the rotating 6 digits on it. So they're used to that type of security. Enabling two-factor authentication for them shouldn't be too much of a problem. But I do agree with some of my friends in the security circles that two-factor authentication, if it is available, is an absolute must to turn on. Please, please, please do that. And you know what? I think I may reach out to my friend Barry and see if we can have him join me for a stream and talk about enabling two-factor authentication in our ASP.NET applications. Maybe not the one we're currently working on, but at least to talk through it, just so that it becomes a little bit clearer and we can take some questions about it here on the stream. So they do something to the password for your first attempt, send you a code that you add to the code for your real password, and that becomes the password for that login attempt. Cool. Okay. So I will ask. They deny it. I got it. Okay. So yeah, I will. I'll ask Barry if he's interested in joining us. If he's not, I'm sure I can find somebody else. One of my other security-empowered friends, let's call them, to join us. Yes, he is a very fun time, and I may have to move the stream to an evening just to accommodate all of the scotch that I'm going to need to be drinking in order to keep up with Barry. All right. Enough about security, enough about that. I don't want to continue bringing down the stream. I have a hard stop today at about noon my time, so I want to make sure that I get in and we accomplish something here before I need to sign off. Hats. Today's hat. This is a brand new hat. I actually got it in the mail about 2 weeks ago, but it was part of a set of things that we were giving to my daughters for Christmas, so I held on to it. This is Black Horse Stables. Say it there. My daughters do show riding, hunter jump riding, and they're actually pretty good at it. They compete in what's called IEA with at the middle school level against other teams that they're middle school aged kids, but it's obviously not associated with a school. Around here, we don't have schools that have a farm attached and sponsoring a team. So this is the local farm, the local stables. Black Horse Stables is who they ride for. And on Saturday, I will be the in-arena announcer for a show at their facility here near me. Somebody had mentioned on a previous stream, gosh, you should do books on tape or something. I do a bit of in-arena announcing, not just for this organization. I've done it for Pee Wee football. I've done it for basketball. It's a lot of fun. But that's where I'll be this weekend, and I wanted to make sure that I rep my daughter's teams. You may have seen me, those of you who follow me on Facebook. Very proud. They've done quite well this year, and they're preparing for regional competition in March. This is one this weekend that's local that we're going to be supporting as well. So that's today's hat, Black Horse Stables. All right, I haven't really looked at our GitHub repositories here, so I am going to flip over to my browser and change the view here, change the scene, so that we can take a look at GitHub in just a second here. Let me get things lined up. GitHub.com, C#Fritz. All right, let's start taking a look at what's going on today. And let's see if all of my gadgets load up properly for me up there. So my viewer count, all right, there's a few of us that are watching today. With it being the holiday, I wasn't sure how many folks would tune in. There we go. 299 viewers total. Followers. Pushing towards 500 in an Asp Net Core workshop that I'll host here on the stream. Let's take a look. I want to take a look, see if we have any pull requests, any issues that we need to address to start with. I'm going to start up here in configuration builders, then move over to Epic Build Music, and we'll end in rundown. And then any questions over here in the live stream we'll look at. So configuration builders, this is a project that gives you the ability to add configuration to your .NET application from outside of web config, but still inject it and be able to use the configuration manager interface. It looks like we have no new updates there, so I'm going to put this aside for now. I just did a Control W there to close that. Let me turn on Karnak. Let's see if we can get Karnak to hang out today. And let you see the hotkeys that I'm hitting here. There we go. This is Karnak down here, showing you the hotkeys that I'm using, just in case you have any questions about how I'm navigating around. This is Epic Build Music. This is a Visual Studio extension that will, it helps play some music while Visual Studio is building your application. There's 10 issues up here. Settings fields are not fully displayed. So this was just opened by Ungraj. Let's take a look at this. Settings fields are not fully displayed. Oop, look at that. Yeah, that doesn't look right. All right, let's see. What's Ungraj's full name here? Oh, all right. Nothing about that person. Well, that does look pretty sad, that user interface. My gosh. Let's see if we can take a look at this and figure out what's going on. I am going to Why isn't there? It is. This should be always on top. I don't see it on there. Toolbars, no. Where is it? I thought always on top was here. Taskbar settings. I want this always on top. And I don't see always on top here. Interesting. Alright. It was in settings? Was it? Taskbar settings. Lock, automatically hide in desktop, automatically hide, small taskbar buttons. Taskbar location, bottom. Yeah. but it doesn't say always on top. I want it to be, when I mouse down over this, to be on top of this screen, but it is not. So that's annoying. Never mind that. Let's I'm going to go over here to Visual Studio. And let's take a look at no projects on the list. Feels bad, man. Epic build music, here it is. And let's see if I can... No. Command, there we go. Fritz, epic build music. Good. Alright, and I'm on dev. So let's do a checkout. This is issue 24, so we will call this issue settings not, let's say, visible. Alright. So now I want to take a look at this, and I like to create a new branch every time I work on a new feature or on a new issue so that it's easy for me to collapse those up and see exactly what has changed between them. Alright. So let me come down here to my... Where's my user control? Yeah, this one. So that looks okay. Right? Do a properties on this. I feel like I want to have this grid docked, right? Because right now it's just kind of sized however big we feel it should be, right? Come here. I'm actually going to pin you down there. Properties window. Okay, so this grid, auto size mode, grow and shrink, dock. Let's make this thing fill the whole shebang. And where's that grow and shrink here? So this is where I'm kind of I'm kind of all thumbs when it comes to Windows Forms development, right? It's been a while since I've done this. Make sure you put comments on so we can lecture you about two-factor authentication. Uh-oh. Did somebody reach out to Barry on Twitter? Here, he's already talking about this. I'm actually how should I put this? I'm gonna write back to Barry here. I've actually discussed this for the last 10 minutes or so on my stream at Twitch TV /Fritz. Let's see if he writes back. So this control here, let's see if I can, right, I don't want that, it's not docked, but the stretch there looks really goofy, you know? So how do we fix that so it's not, right, I thought there was a grow and shrink deal here. Ah, here we go, auto size mode. I don't think I want, yeah, auto size is false. So why is it so weird? You know? Oh, wait, here we go. Not the top, not the bottom. That's better. I think that's better. Let's see. Can I also tell you the mixer dashboard is kind of weird to look at here. because it doesn't auto-refresh, even though I've turned on live analytics. It's just kind of hanging there. It doesn't really tell me exactly what's going on. Here we go. Grid columns are set to percentages. I'm okay with the grid columns set as percentages, I think. Right, where is that? Columns. So column 3 is an absolute. That's fine. You know what? Maybe this one. Maybe this one should be set to auto size. Yeah, that's not too bad. Let me see if I can make that a little bit. So now, let's save. And I'm just going to start this. And let's see what it looks like. Joe Bun, I thought VS was only using WPF, but I guess the settings dialog is a Windows form. That's right. The settings dialogs are Windows forms, but the editor, the text editor, is WPF. There's a couple other things that are WPF as well. The different, I think the different docked window panes are. So, I think the default form size from VS is something odd, so the grid size is off the visible screen. All right. Isaac, thank you for... I thought you did follow already. But, yeah, look at that. You did follow. What, you following on the other service now? But, cool. That's great. Thank you. Trying to artificially inflate my numbers, aren't you? That's okay. I won't get upset. So let me go Tools, Options, and let me go down to Epic Build Music. All right, so here's some of my breakpoints. For this, I'm just going to, where is it? I want to disable all my breakpoints for now. I want to leave them there, but don't actually pause them. I wanted to see if Twitch has a better UI. I think it does. Look at that. Okay, so I completely see what he's saying here. Look at this. I mean, that is, yeah. That is, you know, that alignment. I think it's a little bit better now, but yuck. Yuck. All right. All right, let's see if we can clean that up a little bit more here. So the grid, right? And where's that dock? I don't want it to completely fill. I think I just want it docked to the top. And if it's just docked to the... Can I say docked to the top and left? Can I say both of those? No, it's either top or... Alright, let's see what that looks like now. I need to change the first column to be a fixed width. I think you're right. You know what? But too bad Visual Studio is already loaded. Options. Is that God Tissue? Thank you. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate the follow. Welcome to the stream. We're just doing a little bit of cleanup here in some Windows forms. Well, okay, that's... At least it's up at the top, but it... Ugh, right? I mean, I don't like it hanging way over there. I'd prefer it to be hanging over here on the left side. So, now, something that I've seen and that some of my friends on the NuGet team showed me was they actually started a Windows form and a Windows Forms project and put things into that to do a little bit of integration testing without having to reload Visual Studio each time. But yeah, I might be okay, right? If I take a look at... let's take a look at the... No, not that control. I want to look at the code behind on this thing. Where is it? View code. There it is. Alright. Let's see. I don't think there's anything here that references Visual Studio, so I should be able to just open this So when it's created, it's going to initialize, and it's looking for all these things. Oh, wait. No, it's going to call initialize component. Alright. And then I've been calling initialize, and it's been setting up all those things. And I'm really only working on layout stuff here. So I think for the purposes of just getting a fast cycle on this, I'm just going to start a Windows Forms app. And I'm going to call this Integrated Form Test. Just so I can take a look at what this looks like and be able to load it quickly. So let me add a reference. I'm going to add a reference to my other project, Core, where my user control, that is my settings, lives. So now I should be able to just add that. Where's my toolbox? I don't see my toolbox. General options, user control. And my toolbox is not docked where I want it to be. Get over here. Not even there. Gosh. Float. And then I want it in... which one's which? I guess it's that one, right? Yeah, this one. So now option page is down here. That's not right. I don't want that. I want this. So there's my user control, right? Get rid of that. Okay. So now, right, if this thing is docked, right, and I think it's docked like that, and if I set that as my debug start, set a startup project, so now I should be able to click start and jump into this form. Yeah, now I can see what it looks like. Yeah, the percentages definitely don't seem like the way to go. It feels like I want that to be, that first column, to be a static width. Right? So let's take a look back at the columns on this. Yeah, that's not going to be good. Let's set this one to auto size. Let's set this one... well, if I make this one auto size, but see, I want it to auto size, but I want it to be like, let's see what happens when I flip that. Now look at that button. Ugh. Right? Oh no! Right now I get that weird clipping. Let's see, I don't want it docked. Alright, this button just looks ugly. Where did it go? Defines the edges of the container to which a control is bound. When a control is anchored, the distance to the edges will remain constant. Yes, that's what I want. Auto size false, grow only. Right. But I certainly don't want it that big. But it won't let me make it smaller. Alright, so I'm seeing comments in the Twitch chat that are not coming through to my integrated chat over here. And I'm hoping... oh boy. Let me take a quick look at that. Let me refresh that and see if we can start getting some of those messages coming through. Because I feel like I've completely lost the stream if I can't see and hear from you in the chat. Only anchor button left. Yeah, I think that sounds like the way to go. And let's do that. Anchor. Let's remove that one. That's better. So if I take these, I really want these to be anchored on the left side. No, actually, no. I think I want them on the right. There we go. Excuse me. Okay. So that looks a little bit better. Let's see if that cleans things up. Ah, there we go. All right. And then if I run that in Visual Studio, just to confirm that I've got that cleaned up, and then we'll commit those changes, push them up, and maybe we can even cut a new version of this. So I'm seeing my viewer count go up on Twitch, but I don't see Barry tormenting me out here yet. I'm hoping that's a good sign. Alright, so this is the experimental instance of Visual Studio. For those of you that haven't written an extension before, you've seen me, I've opened this a couple times here, but I didn't really explain it. This is actually an instance of Visual Studio that loads and opens that you have complete control over. So you're actually developing Visual Studio with Visual Studio. Kind of meta, but it works. Here's Epic Build Music. That looks much, much better. That's how I think we want this to look. And even when I size things, we're still in good shape. So I'm going to close this out. I think I've got that updated the way I want it to. And let's take a look and commit those changes back to GitHub and push an update out to the project. I should version everything, shouldn't I? I'm going to go into solution info. So this is a common class file that I've put out here so that I can change the version number of everything in one place. And I'm going to make this 032, save that, and I'm going to go into my manifest. This is the description of all the information about the project, and I'm going to make this 032 here as well. So I am going to, now that those changes are all in, let me make sure that I do a save all, update everything appropriately. I'm going to, let's make sure what all changed here. Take a look at that. That's a bad font size for you, isn't it? That's probably a little bit harder to see, and certainly with that red, that's a little bit better. So let's commit some of these changes here. I'm going to add my integrated form test folder, so let's make sure I get that added, because that'll make it easier for me to debug some of these things going forward. And then I'm going to commit all of the changes that I made. Fixed alignment and layout of settings panel. Settings control. And that is for issue 24. So I'll actually note that here. And I'm going to push. Now I don't have a branch for that yet in GitHub, so let me make sure I create one. Set upstream, origin, issue, settings not visible. There we go. And now I should tag this. My tags look like this, so let's add a tag for 032 so that my tag lines up with the version number that I just assigned to everything. There we go. And I'll push that up as well. There we go. So that tag is now on GitHub. Let me actually build the project with this new version. So I'm going to change this to release mode and build, and I'll let it rebuild the solution. Okay, it says rebuild all succeeded. You can't see it, but it's right there behind me. It's over there. And I can actually close Visual Studio at this point. I'm going to go over to GitHub, and if I refresh this issue, Control R, there you go, fixed alignment and layout of settings control. It's all tagged there. So I'm actually going to, I think when I merge this, it'll actually close. It'll actually close the issue for me when I merge the pull request. So let's create that pull request. Yep, new pull request. And let me bring in that issue. Wrong one. Went the wrong way. Go the other way. Flip this. Feels bad, man. Actually, I think I want to merge into... I think I want that to be dev and this one to be the issue. There you go. So here's the one change. Right, 16 files changed because they're all the new things that I added as part of that new project, my test form that I put out there. So that's pretty easy to see. Let's create that pull request. Yep, create it. So this should, yep, I can merge this automatically. So let's squash and merge. That's really all that I did. So let's confirm. Merged commit into dev. And I should be able to come over here and look at this. Added a commit referencing it. Yep. So I can delete that branch, and I'm actually going to... It didn't close the issue. So I'm going to do that as well. So close that. Oops, wrong tab. And I'm going to delete this extra branch now because I've merged this appropriately. So now it's in my dev branch, and there should be a tag out there now. If I go back to my code, there's now another release here. And there it is, 032. I should probably merge this all the way up into master. Let's do that. Oh, this is going to be a mess. All right, I'm just going to leave it at dev for now. Let me update that tag. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I'm here on stream and I want to make sure I get to some of my other code. So let's, come on. I want to edit this. And we will call this updated settings. Fixed issue preventing settings dialog from appearing and stretching off the side of the screen. There we go. That's easy. Now I want to attach a binary to this, so let me go grab the binary that was created by Visual Studio for us. So I'm actually going to... Hey, where'd Visual Studio go? Karnak has stopped working. Yeah, feels bad. Yeah, where'd Visual Studio go on me? I closed it? Rats. Used the Git desktop app for a while, but the command line is a lot better and quicker overall. Yeah. I used some shell scripts to check, and I've not missed anything. You know what? I started tinkering with using Windows Subsystem for Linux to do some of that work, and it's not quite where I want it to be. Not quite there yet. Let me see if I can reopen Karnak so you can see what I'm working on. All right. While that's working, let me go back. Yeah, gone. So there's the project. And I should be able to say open folder location. There it is. jump right into my folder. I'm going to go down into release, and I'm going to grab the V6 here. The V6 is the extension for a Visual Studio file. The Visual Studio extension file has a file extension of VSIX, or we call it V6. So I'm just going to drop that right here so it gets uploaded. Yep, let's publish that. That looks good. I'm going to copy this URL so that when I go over here to the marketplace for Visual Studio, I can publish and point to that new extension. Yep, sign in with this account. And let me go to publish extensions. There's Epic Build Music. 14 installs! Oh, we're killing it. Okay. Not really. That's okay. It's a fun extension, and if folks install it, that's great too. So 032, it's in Epic Build Music, and where is... There it is. I need to change this. That's not the right one. I want this location, so let's copy that link location. I do this every time, don't I? I copy the wrong link. Good. And I will save and upload. Verifying 032, and that should go away in just a minute when things are all square. I'll refresh. There we go, 032 is available now. Yay! Alright, so there we go, we fixed a bug, closed it out, feels good. The main project that we're working on is called Rundown right now, and this is an Asp Net Core project that helps. It's a collection of stream tools, and you know what? I do want to rename this to Stream Tools, not Rundown, because it's more than just a rundown. And I'm going to publish this as a Docker image that folks are going to be able to install and use. And in fact, I am using it to generate a couple of the widgets up there at the top of this video. Oh, look, my video is going wonky. This happened the other day, that my video from my camera started going really slow. And it feels like Windows is doing something in the background. Ugh. Come on, Windows. Join us. Yeah, my bits that I'm outputting here has gone down significantly. Almost by half. But there's nothing going on my production machine. Alright, looks like that cleared up. Nah, it's a little bit wonky still. We'll push through a little bit. So I want to rename this rundown stream to something that is more like what it is. It's Stream Tools. So I think we're going to go through some steps to rename this today and then start working on some work with WebSockets to make interacting with some of our features a little bit easier. The other repository I opened here was Livestream, and this is where I'll take questions. I'll post answers to some things here, and it looks like nothing new has come in since our last stream. I'll come back and answer more questions Tuesday next week when I come back and stream again. So for right now, I'm going to close that tab. Yeah, look at that. Wow. Something is really taking over my production machine here and just clobbering everything. And it's an i7 with a ton of RAM. And now it's all of a sudden dragging. How's it going in the chat room? Have you folks had a good holiday? Have you had a nice break? It seems kind of quiet. Are you just listening to me ramble? What's going on? What's new? While I try and take a look at what's going on here. Nothing. It's awfully quiet. It was a good break? Cool. That's good to hear. Coding at the same time, listening and watching. Oh, that's neat. All right. Yeah, there's no guilty parties showing up here. All right. All right. I'm going to move on. So this is the rundown project. Man, that looks weird. On Mixer, are you folks seeing the same? And on Twitch, are you seeing the same kind of lag here in my video? Let me know. Because I am concerned about that. LOL. Uh-oh. It's like being in an open plan office on your own. Yes, you are seeing some of the lag. Ugh. 3 seconds lag. Well, okay, the lag, but is my video stuttering? You know, the lag I kind of expect a little bit. Just because I'm going through a rebroadcaster here, a restreamer. But yes, you are seeing a little bit of video stuttering. Yeah, the jittery video is what concerns me. Yeah, oh gosh, I'm pushing 6 frames per second. What the heck happened there? True is cool, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Even though my webcam is stuttering. Yeah, that frames per second sucks. Looks like I'm on the space shuttle. Alright, let's see if I can do anything to clean this up. Let me close. This shouldn't be causing a problem here. Yeah, because if I start using that Elgato, it's going to add even more lag. There's like a half-second lag just getting to my production machine here. It says I'm up to 15 frames per second. I don't... OBS is getting a little grumpy here. This is what this looks like. Give me 1 second here. Nope, I'm pushing 1920 at 30 frames per second. Let's take a look at that webcam real quick. It's fine now? It's better? Oh yeah, look at that. Oh my gosh. That's a world of difference. Look at that. It is. It's back up to 30 frames per second. I don't know what happens, but that was about an hour into the discussion with Iris. We saw the same thing where my video, all the video just got stuttery all of a sudden. I'm not sure if that's me or something else going on there. Let me go back over. Right, here's Firefox. Yeah, that looks good. I think you're right, Joe, but it feels like an OBS issue. In which case, there's folks that push OBS a lot harder than I am that would be concerned with that. All right. So, I want to rename this first before I go and start doing much else with it. Oh gosh, but it's going to take a while, and I'm going to have to do all kinds of re-hookups and things, huh? It might even be easier just to start another repository and push to that. You have seen that behavior in other streams lately. Interesting. Okay. That's good to know. Yeah, the video's all good now. All right. So let me see. If I try to rename this... Oh, wow, 4 stars. Look at that. And even Suze Hinton. That's cool. Thank you, Suze. If I want to rename this, right? How do I rename? Isn't it like a properties on settings? That's where it is. Right, if I want to rename this to, let's rename this, Stream Tools. Oh, that was easy. But my README still says rundown. My project, my solution, all the files in my project are still rundown. I'm going to need to change those. Let me update that README. Let's make that a little bit cooler. And I don't even want to have it in this rundown folder anymore. I want to move it. Start is a quick way to just launch Windows Explorer if you haven't seen that trick. I'm going to rename this. And we'll call this Stream Tools. Now I wonder if it's still hooked up to, right? Git status. So if I do a git pull, it says it's up to date. If I take a look at my git remotes, what is it? Git remote -v? There you go. So it's pointing to Fritz rundown git. Is that still where this is listening? Right, if I pull this down. Yeah, see, it wants to go to streamtools.git. It's actually, it's changed my origin location. So let me, I feel like I need to change that. So how do I change a git remote? There's got to be an easy way to do that. How to change a git remote. I don't want to look at a video. I'm recording a video. Changing a remote's URL. Here we go. Git remote set URL command changes an existing remote repository URL. Fantastic. The git remote set URL command takes 2 arguments. An existing remote name, origin, upstream are 2 common choices. Blah, 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 blah. So there you go. I'm going to do something like that. All right. That looks easy. I'm going to grab this. So it was git remote set URL origin, and then I'll just paste in. And look. Lostwood Games, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. There we go. That was easy. I can open the git config file and change the remote inside there. Oh, true is cool. You know what? That is, I like your approach. So, right, if I go into, if I say code, git, and it was the config file. There we go. So I'm going to open that in Visual Studio Code. And yeah, there's the remote URL there. You're right. I could have just changed that here, or like I did, I just went and I used that set URL command on the command line. Good to know. Thanks for the tip, True is cool. That's gosh, I haven't really looked at this file. You know, that's some interesting things in there. So running that command is much easier. You're right. I think you're right. All right. So I've got, I'm so good. I was using the Bash Windows subsystem for Linux on this machine yesterday, and my mind has my directory separator slashes confused, and I'm doing a little bit of back and forth here. You saw me try to execute clear. I'm trying to train my mind to start thinking more like Linux. We'll get there. All right, so I have Stream Tools. My status. Okay. Yes, WSL does rock. So let me do this. I'm going to check out master. Oh, I should change those. Let's do this. Git commit. I'm going to do the work in progress check-in. That's kind of lame, but it works for now. So now let me check out master. Okay, and now I'm going to check out, I want to check out a new branch just to update that README so that the README looks the same everywhere. So let's do git checkout -b and README update. No, you know what? Project rename. And I'm just going to walk through and I'm going to rename everything right here in this stream. So I merge it directly into master, and then my dev branch will get all those updates. Alright, so let's take a look at that README first. I like to edit Markdown in Visual Studio Code just because it's really easy to see, and I get this side-by-side view that feels good, and I can immediately see the changes that I've made. I'm a very WYSIWYG driven developer. I like to have that immediate feedback, seeing exactly what my updates are when I make changes in my code. So just changing this to Fritz Stream Tools and seeing that update makes me feel good, right? It gives me that assurance without having to save, refresh your browser, and go check that out. Isaac says Markdown Monster is good as well. Yes. So Markdown Monster is a tool written by my friend Rick Strahl. Rick is a longtime Microsoft MVP. He's done a great job writing a tool called Markdown Monster. Check it out. It's really neat. I like using Visual Studio Code when I do demos like this because it's a tool that everybody can get their hands on, and I want to make sure that you're exposed to it a little bit more and you can see some of these features that are available to it. But definitely check out Markdown Monster if you're doing a lot of Markdown processing. But this is really easy for me to use right here in Visual Studio Code. So that was the only change I think I needed to make there. So let's do a quick status. Yep, just the README, so I am going to commit that. I nearly did -a-m. Didn't, it's -am, and that's easier to type. And I'm just going to call this renamed in README. Cool. All right, next I want to take a look at renaming that solution file and starting to move some of those things. So let's take a quick look at my directory. So I have the directory called Fritz Rundown, and then I have the solution file called Fritz Rundown. So let's rename Fritz Rundown.sln to Fritz Rundown Stream Tools.sln. So REN is the rename that you can use there, the rename command line. Hedda Shooter, welcome. We're going to be doing some Asp Net Core coding here in a little bit. I'm renaming my project from Fritz Rundown to Fritz Stream Tools, and then we're going to open the project and start doing some coding in there. All right, so let's. Can I do a? Will rename work with the folder also? You cannot specify new drive or path, and it only renames files. So the cheater way to do this is to just come over here, grab this, and say rename. Yeah, I know. I'm not using the command line. But you know what? That's fast and easy for me to do there. Alright, so now that's Stream Tools, and then I'm going to rename. Does MV work in Windows? Well, MV is actually the same as move, is what it is in Windows. So it looks like I could do that with my directory names. So yes, I could have done a move, right? Fritz.streamtools, fritz.foo. Yep, and it renamed it to fritzfoo. You're right. Good call, true is cool. I could have used that as well. So let me move that back. Fritz Stream Tools. Good to know. Learned something today. Thank you, true is cool. All right, so I have my folder name properly. Let me open the solution now and start rewiring where my project is and getting that lined up. So I'm going to go over here to Visual Studio, recent projects, and it's it's not that anymore. So I actually have to do an open project and solution and cdev fritz.streamtools. Rats. There it is. Open my solution file. Now it should blow up and say, I can't find this project. So what I'm going to do is remove that. And I'm going to re-add it. There it is. And now I'm going to rename this. Now I clicked on it once. You can also use F2. That's not F2. That's F2. And I noticed Karnak didn't show you that. But you can use F-Tool to bounce into there as well. So now I've renamed my project to Fritz Stream Tools, and Karnak blew up again. Feels bad, man. Come on back, Karnak. So now let's check some of the properties on this, because I want to make sure that it's now using Stream Tools as my, default namespace, assembly name. Those all look good for me. Now, my controllers and things still have the old namespace in it. But this is loading now. Let me take a look at my Docker Compose. Yeah, this wasn't updated when my project name changed. So I think I'm going to need to rename this. And I'm going to change my image now to Stream Tools. Notice the Docker image name is all lowercase, okay? You can't mix case in Docker image names, just in case that's something you're looking for. I also got to update now my other Docker file over here. So this is Stream Tools SLN and Stream Tools SLN over here. That looks good now. Okay. Let me check this override. And we're going to change this to Stream Tools. Nope. Oh, can't forget to rename this one. There we go. All right. Now, before I go and change the namespace in all my files, let's just make sure everything builds properly. So I'm going to tell it to build the solution. Let's take a look at my output here. Dang mobile keyboard. Good morning, Drew Boy. Great to see you here. Let's see. So, build succeeded. Fantastic. And it's Stream Tools DLL. That looks good. I'm going to commit these changes now because I get a little paranoid. I want to make sure that things are in a place where I can roll back in case I make any mistakes. So I'm going to run a git status again here, and because I renamed the folder, all these things that were in my rundown folder are now marked as deleted, which, while it feels bad, makes sense, and Git will actually resolve that and turn it around and say, well, it was a rename because these files are the same. Drew Boy asks, did you get everything sorted out with Amazon? Not yet. Looks like we still have some waiting to do. But they've sent me notices saying, "Oh, we've got this under control. No worry. Our fraud detection team is looking into this." And I will share snippets of those emails when I get them on my blog. I'm going to write up the entire experience so that folks see my experience, and I hope it encourages some folks to turn on two-factor authentication, and I'm going to collect some of the security recommendations from my friends and how I resolve this and put it all in one place. And like I mentioned earlier, but I'll reiterate, I want to make sure that some of the less technical folks, like my parents and my in-laws, who are not high tech, they're not going to be watching a stream like this. They're not going to be coding. They use their PC to check email. They connect up their Echo Dot so that they can listen to the radio in the morning, and they can get recipes off of it, these types of things. but I want to make sure that they're aware of some of these things and make it easy for them to do. In fact, I might even resurrect a 10-minute tip video. If you've seen some of my videos on YouTube, I did a series of what I call 10-minute tips, and they were just little 10-minute videos to show you real quick how to do something. I might do that with how to more securely manage your Amazon account. So thanks for the question, Drew Boy, and I think that's actually something really important that I should do, and I wouldn't have thought of it if you didn't ask that question this time. So thank you. Let me commit these changes. So I'm going to git add Fritz rundown, which is weird. You have to add a folder that doesn't exist anymore so that it knows to delete it. Trust me, it works. I'm going to add Fritz Stream Tools SLN because I did that rename. It helps if you actually put the word add. Yeah. I'm going to add Fritz Stream Tools so that that folder is added. And now if I run a git status, I should see a lot of green here. Yeah, look at that. So these are all the things that it sees. And now you see it says rename, right? So Git knows that this is the same file, just moved to a different location. So it won't actually store a second copy, but Git will actually store a pointer to show that that rename occurred. I should be able to do a commit, not commit, am renamed folders, solution, and project file. And look at that. So it's showing you here all the rename actions that it did. So if I do a git status, now my runtime folder is kind of hanging out here. And that's okay. I'm next going to take a look at those namespaces. I want to get my namespaces all lined up with Stream Tools and not Rundown. So here's what I'm going to do a bulk rename, okay? I'm actually going to search for fritz.rundown across my entire project. So I'm doing a Control-Shift-F to find in files across the entire solution, and I'm going to change this to replace in files. There's actually a hotkey to get into the replace directly. If you do Control-Shift-H, it'll open this. So I'm going to search for Fritz Rundown, and I'm going to replace with Fritz Stream Tools. Now, I do want to match case and keep modified files open after the replace all. And let's do it. I'm just going to let it run through this and hit this very, very quickly. And then I'll be able to see all those places. And I want to review just to make sure that nothing squirrely, if you will, happened. So here I can see a bunch of these up here. So here's my rundown controller. That looks good. I'm going to save that. Down here in startup. Now I could just toss caution to the wind and just try and build. See if it works. And it did. All right. A friend of mine used to say in the first startup I worked at, used to say that he didn't write unit tests, but he unit tested by just hitting Control-Shift-B. And if the project built, the compiler approved and it was ready to ship. Yeah. I'm a little more paranoid than he is. What can I tell you? But hey, you know what? If that works for you, more power to you. So it looks like my files are all updated here. I'm actually going to tell it close all but this. So now if I do a git status, I should see just those files that were changed. That's not too bad. I thought there was going to be more of them. And the Docker file changed. What changed in that Docker file? So I think I can do a git diff, right? And it's going to show me what changed here. Okay, so check this out. So the Docker file, of course, I needed to make sure that it was copying the correct csproj file out. That's correct. There we go. That makes sense. I would have missed that if I didn't do this global solution find and replace. Okay, So I'm going to commit these changes. Fix the namespace. So now if I do a git status, yep, just my runtime, which is really just so you see what's in it. It's stuff so that I can run it here locally on this machine, right? No. More runtime run. See, it'll just let me run it locally here on my development machine. All right, so that should all be pushed up into. It's not pushed up. It's here in a branch on my local machine. So let's push that up to GitHub. Oh, look, Carnet crashed on me. Feels bad, man. One more time. So I'm going to push it up here, do the merge into master, pull it back down, and start updating things. So let's do that. So I'm going to git push so that I get this here, because I am too lazy to type that myself. There we go. I wish there was a way I could just say git push, set that default, and just let it take that and do it for me. So, all right, so now my origin should have, so GitHub now should have, there it is. I'm going to compare and pull request against my master so that I can update and do this rename. And I'm going to call this renamed to Stream Tools. Create that pull request. Is it going to be able to? Of course it's going to be able to, because I wrote it. Yeah. All right. That's fine. Squash and merge, because I only want one commit. Fantastic. Now I can delete that branch. Good. And now if I go back to code, Stream Tools, Stream Tools, Stream Tools, and if I look at my commits, beautiful. That was easy. All right, so what I can do... oh, noob question from True is Cool. All right, I haven't done any ASP.NET since college. So have you ASP.NET running inside a Docker container running on top of a Linux image, or is that a Windows-based image? Nice. Yes, that's my Philly accent coming out. I actually had when I was speaking at an event in Texas, in the Dallas area, somebody came up to me afterwards, and I wasn't very conscious about my Philly accent. And they said to me, "You sound like Tony Soprano's IT guy." I was like, "Okay, thank you." So I try and watch my accent, but every now and again, particularly noise, and having a cup of water instead of a cup of water. My friends in Seattle when they catch me saying water, they get on me on that one. Listen to Tina Fey. You'll hear her drop her Philly accent sometimes, and oh my gosh, it's so funny. And it's perfect. I hear it, and So to answer True is Cool. So you haven't done any since college. How long ago was college? Are you like me and you were in college in the 90s? Or were you in college when? So what we're going to be doing here, we're going to be doing ASP.NET Core. That's the new ASP.NET rewrite that's been optimized for cloud work, and its performance has been significantly tuned, building on things that we've learned over the last 15 years. Graduated 2013. Okay, so you've seen ASP.NET MVC. So those versions of ASP.NET, so I'm talking version 4.7.1 and earlier of ASP.NET, runs on the .NET framework, runs on Windows, and you can run inside of a Windows image in Docker. Works great. That Windows image is based on Windows Server Core. .NET 4 runs great. Inside, it's actually .NET Framework 4.5 4.6, I'm sorry, is the smallest version you can get inside that Windows container. Works great. I believe I have an item. I don't need this anymore. I believe I have an item here in the live stream. No. Ooh, I did this. Done. Okay. Let's let me take an item here. Let's do do a show talking about Windows, Docker, containers, and .NET FX. So you can do that. It runs great on the Windows containers. Run great on Service Fabric in Azure. The folks on Google in the Google Compute Engine, they have the ability to run those Windows containers as well. And I believe there's a way with Kubernetes that they're working on so that you can run Windows containers with Kubernetes. Let's see. Drew Boy, I grew up in Jersey and it's a familiar sound. Taught my 2-year-old to say it and it's the funniest. That's great. Can I talk about why we picked Server Core versus Nano Server? Sure. So Windows containers run on Server Core, and you can actually see this, right? If you go to the Docker Hub and you search for Microsoft, I believe it's .NET. Here it is. This is the .NET Core for Linux. This is the wrong one. That's not where I want to be. Let's go Asp Net. This one. So this is the one that's built for ASP.NET 4.7.1, 4.3.5, and you can actually see the Docker files out here. And you can see this is built on .NET Framework 4.7.1 on Windows Server Core. So let's go back, and I'm going to go grab .NET-Framework, and I'll just grab this one. And here is 4.7.1 Windows Server Core. And you can see this comes from Microsoft Windows Server Core. Now, why did we choose Server Core instead of Nano? The Nano Windows Server, really, really small. It's like 250, 300 meg. They've been doing a lot of work to toss things out of that, make that as small as possible. And it works great. But it doesn't come with .NET Framework. In fact, .NET Framework won't run on Nano Server. So the minimum server you can run .NET Framework on is a Server Core that has all the features shut off. And that's what you see here. I mean, check it out. From Server Core, it's actually going and saying, let's NGen update the .NET Framework. And you'll even see, when we look at the ASP.NET version, ASP.NET, here it is. So if we look at the ASP.NET one, check this out. We add the web server. The web server isn't part of Windows Server, whether it's Nano or Windows Server Core. You actually have to light up that feature. So we have to add the feature here in our Docker container, and then we add ASP.NET 4.5, make sure all those features in there, and then we actually remove the www root folder because we know folks like to run off the root on some sort of an app folder and get that hooked up. And then we go and add things like the .NET compiler so we can compile your application on the fly, because ASP.NET web forms applications, right, those ASPX, ASCX, ASHX, and ASMX files all compile dynamically. So we want to make sure that compiler is there for you. So we actually NuGet fetch that stuff and install it, get it all engined, and set up the Roslyn compiler information for you so it can build and run as fast as possible in the container. Good question. Thank you. Drew Boy, KBS gets Windows Container Support in 1.9, which should RTM soon, actually. Yes, it should. And my friends on the Azure teams are looking forward to integrating and using that. All right, so Stream Tools is now updated, and it now can run for us. And I do have, right, I do have my Docker configuration running here. Let me show you. So here's Docker running on my development machine. Ping, just so you know we are listening. Thanks, Jobot. You don't need to ping, but thank you. I bet they are. AKS for the win. Cool. I need to spend some time learning Kubernetes. I might need to do that for another stream here. So, if I take a look at my images right now, look, I've got all these images out here. It's a lot. And I can clean up some of these and start removing some of them. I mean, I've got some of these old rundown images that I don't really need anymore. Let me do that. Let's do that. So I'm going to say Docker RMI Fritz rundown. Let's get rid of 0.2. Is 0.3 out there? No. Let me get rid of 4. And let me get rid of 5. So now if I look at Docker images, so now I have these, a couple of them here that I actually pushed out to my private repository. And this one down here as well. So let me get rid of this dev one as well. Okay. And let's see, Docker RMI. Let's get rid of Fritz registry, Azure CR, IO, Fritz rundown, 0.2. I know that's behind my head there. Let's scroll that up. Let me get rid of the 0.4. And let's see what I have now. So I have 0.6 as my latest. You can see the image IDs match. And it's also the one that's been pushed out to my private repository, and it's tagged latest out there as well. Let me yank that 0.5 version that's on my private repository. There's a container running. There's a container running? Shouldn't be running. I don't think I'm running it. Yeah, this is on my development machine. My development machine is a Yoga. I can do Docker system prune. All right, let's try it. Well, let me shut off these other containers here. RMF, 7 dog alpha, 9 fox 5. Now, Jobon is recommending I try Docker system prune. All stopped containers, all networks not used, all dangling images, all build cache. Do it. I think that's okay. Total reclaimed space, 0. Alright, what do I got now? So now I'm going to go and try and remove this 0.5 that's on the... There we go. That's much better. Alright. That's a little bit cleaner. Alright, I'm kind of happy with that. So now, to True is Cool's question about Asp Net Core. So Asp Net Core is it's a rewrite that is not bound to Windows, okay? So anytime you see us release a new version of Windows, there's a new version of .NET Framework that comes with it, because .NET Framework and Windows are coupled, okay? Whenever there's a new version of Windows, new version of .NET, we're going to continue to support and push that. .NET Core breaks that dependency and allows us to deploy new versions of .NET Core through NuGet, so that as changes happen on the web or for security reasons, we can push those immediately, okay? Very cool stuff. It also means we can tune performance without having to think about being tightly coupled to Windows. So we can do things like make sure it runs really fast in Linux. And it runs great on Mac as well. And it all runs actually from the command line so that you're completely decoupled from Visual Studio. So something that I was trying yesterday, let me see if I can show you real quick. I was running Ubuntu, not Ubuntu, Ubuntu. That's the way that the South Africans say it, so that's the way I'm going to say it. So, okay, that feels bad because you can't see the bottom of my Tmux behind my screen there, behind my fat head. That's a little bit better. And let me see if I can jack up the font size just a bit. See, now it just stretched itself all out of shape again. Come on now, Linux. Right, so this is Windows Subsystem for Linux, right? Literally, Linux running inside of Windows 10. Okay? Right? So I've started remapping some things here, and just to show you that this does work on Linux, here I am inside my Stream Tools folder. Right? Oh, yes, this is Tmux. Right? I can do stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. So up here I can still do things like witchcraft. Yes, Drew Boy, it is. Asp Net Core is the best thing MS has done since VC6. Well, thank you. Thank you, Joe Bun. It is. It's pretty cool. So I have a .NET command line tool that's installed that's specific to Linux, and I can actually do things like, well, let me just do a .NET run here and show you that it's running in Linux, my .NET project. Right? You can see here it's actually building my project here, and we'll see in a second my web browser, my web server, will be launched and sitting here inside my Linux shell, ready to run. Check digits. .NET Core and the other companion core projects are a great step. True cross-platform plus removing a lot of inevitable extra things that crept in to make old-style .NET framework play extra nice with Windows. Things that might not be available in other .NET Core targets like Linux, Mac, and so on. Yeah. So here we go. So my project is opened up and it's listening here on localhost 59201. I'll just copy that, paste it. And there it is running. Easy. That was easy. Nothing to it. But it's true .NET running in Linux inside Windows, right? So that's kind of cool, right? And this really is Tmux, right? No, I'm in the wrong window. There it is. Right, so I can do cool things down here. I can move around. Yeah, I'm in that one now. Right, so I can do this. Now I've got 4 really neat stuff. I'm just learning my way around this. No. Go away. No, I've done something bad. There we go. Exit. And now I'm back over here. And out. So, my background a long time ago, back in 95, 96, when Linus started first publishing Linux, I tinkered with it for a few years then. I actually have original CDs for Red Hat 5 in my desk downstairs in my basement. But I'm getting back into it. I want to make sure that I can talk towards it. There's some folks on Twitter that have said that .NET Core isn't truly open source, and I want to be able to speak to those people and show them that you can do all these cool things on Linux, Mac, wherever you want to be. But Stream Tools runs inside of a Docker container. And I've got it building and creating the Docker containers for me. Cool is putting it mildly. Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. 2018 is going to be the year of the Linux desktop. We've been hearing that for 3 or 4 years now, haven't we? But it truly is, because there's Ubuntu on my Windows desktop, and I can launch it, and I'm in Linux. Very cool stuff. When I do a .NET Run project inside Windows Subsystem for Linux, that's what WSL is, for those of you checking out the 3-letter acronyms. WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux. The file stays locked when I Control-C terminate it. I have to exit WSL terminal and restart it again. Any ideas? Let's take a quick look-see. cd dev fritz.stream tools. Let me go down one more. Slow Polar Bear 45, thank you for the follow. And thanks, Steve. We are talking about developers here. So let me do it. Here's where I got to use some tmux. I'm going to put htop over here so we can see what it's doing. And I'm going to come back over to this and .NET Run. Courtesy of Microsoft, who would ever thought? Amazingly timed. My colleagues that are working on the .NET team, some of my colleagues on my team, we would not have joined Microsoft if they didn't embrace open source the way they have, and I owe a bit of that to my supervisor, Scott. He's done an amazing job getting folks to listen and embrace the open source story. Yep, there went Karnak again. Nope. We'll figure that out one of these days, what's going on with Karnak. So you can see it's running, it's hanging out here, and the browser's doing its thing. Now, your comment was, you symlink to the Windows.NET for WSL. The Windows.NET SDK and the Linux one are two different things. So I've actually got the Linux, the Ubuntu version installed here so that it's not doing any funny back and forth stuff with it. So that might be part of your problem that you see there. So the file stays locked when I Control-C terminate it, and you have to exit. So I'm going to make sure that I'm over here on the left side, and I'm going to Control-C, and you can see in htop everything was released. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's because you're running the Windows.NET SDK. Let's see. Mags. Let me know if I'm pronouncing that right. 3 G's though. I hope I'm pronouncing it. You can use the .NET Watch tool to have your project in Ubuntu rebuild and restart every time you change something in Visual Studio. Yes, that is so. What Magus? I'm assuming a guy. I don't. What they're describing here is if you take a look at my CS proj file here, check this out down here. I have a it's not in this one. Let me get out of that. Let me go back over to here. Let me. That was my feature project rename. Okay, hang on. Let me go back to my master branch. I'm going to delete my feature branch. It's -d feature. It doesn't work. Project rename. Good. I'm going to git pull so I get the latest from my merge. Good. All right. Let me go into my dev branch. Good. I'm going to merge from master. Merge failed. Fix conflicts and then merge conflict in index CSHTML in Stream Tools SLN. I like to use Visual Studio Code to fix these, and I'll show you why. Because this is really cool what you can do here. What is all this nonsense? Ugh. There are unresolved dependencies. No, go away. No. Go ahead, I don't care. So it actually marks these as the ones that need to be fixed by putting them in a different color here, and I can see the two different changes. So, I'm going to keep the current change. Because I did add something here called Chatbot that I'm starting to tinker with, and we'll look at that hopefully in just a little bit here. Release config stuff, yeah, except the current one. Right now, D077, that's a reference to a project that isn't here. I'm going to save that and try and open it. Let's see if I reload this. Solution has been modified. Reload. Now my other project here is gone. The actual Stream Tools project. So let's make sure I get that added back into the mix. And look, it's still called Rundown here. No. Don't. Stream. Wait a sec. I've got two folders there. Grab that one. Don't start the live unit testing on this. Let's make sure that builds. Build failed. All right, what failed? Now, see, I thought this would merge nicely, but it didn't, of course. Let's see, I got invited to a Red Hat launch in Baltimore where they held it in the aquarium, which was very cool. The only really weird thing was they served snack foods, which included a sushi bar in the aquarium. It was a whole different kind of guilt trip eating sushi next to live fish. Yeah. It's like having chicken McNuggets by a chicken coop. I tried using the Linux native .NET installation, but it gives me problems with NuGet packages switching between Windows and Linux. I haven't seen that. I'd want to see a little bit more. Hitting escape makes those infos go away. 100 for conflict resolution in Visual Studio Code. Time for the commute. Tune back in when I get to the office. Catch you later, Drew Boy. Thanks. All right. I thought we removed and fixed all these. Let's just do a quick Control H again. Replace them everywhere. Entire solution. Go. Yep. Now, why is that grouchy? Because... services. See, now look. Oh. See, look. Now, my services didn't come over. Now I feel like I'm in a really bad place. Ugh. Ugh. Know what I mean? Alright, so what's my other conflict here? Because it looks like I have that resolved, even though it's not compiling properly. Where was I? Visual Studio Code. Here we go. See, now, why is this one in orange? Contains emphasized items. I bet. There's services, but it's not over in this one. In pages, index. There we go. Mags, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. These look the same, don't they? Pages. Oh, look at that. Index.csh. No, pages index model. Pages index model. They're the same. Why was that a conflict? Doesn't that make you angry when you see stuff like that? Git status. Ugh. Whenever I see a wall of text like that while I'm trying to merge, scares me. Fritz, stream tools, pages, index. All right. Time for a hard reset. I think you might be right. All right, now let me come back over here to my project. Yep, Karnak's dead again. All right, stream tools. And it's my services and my other things that were in here are gone. And follower configuration, all of those things, that feels really, really bad. I am not happy with that. I mean, they're here in my rundown folder, and they're not. This really does feel bad, right? Let me just see about copy. I mean, Git should have done this for me. You know what I mean? So I pasted them in there. They should appear. Yep, look at that. They automatically appeared in Visual Studio. And if I try and build again. Okay. Did I pull from master? I did. Okay, so this is something that is broken. I know it's broken. That's fine. So now this is telling me services doesn't exist, but they're clearly right there. Fritz Stream Tools, services. Oh. Yep, go do them all. I think I didn't push everything up. Yeah, I committed and only pushed to dev. You're right. So that looks like it's working now. All right. Let me come back over here. Git status. Yep. All right. Fritz, stream tools. I'm going to cheat. Because I'm just not going to deal with it. Models, services, views, looks better. Renamed and merged with dev. All right. Looks good. All right. Let's push that change. There it goes. Cool. Now, back to what I was trying to show you over here in Linux. Git is the proper way to create insanity in all software developers. Yes. So I'm over here in Tmux looking at my thing. Now, what I was trying to show is that if you take a look at the CS proj, I've already added this watcher down here on line 14. Thank you, Ian. Yes, I gotta watch the time here. Let me open this up a little bit so it doesn't wrap. See this here on line 14? This is a CLI tool reference. This is a tool that's extending the .NET command line tool to add other features, other verbs that we can use. And this one that we're adding is watcher. So if I exit this, what I can do is I can say .NET watch run, and it will that's interesting. If I do a .NET build first, it should. So .NET Build will restore all my packages first for me. Take a few seconds. The packages it needs for this are the Linux. They are bound and are going to be using the Linux version of the runtime. And that's kind of important here, because I'm running in Linux, not in Windows. So .NET Watch Run. Now you can see over here in HTOP, it's filling up and showing me here what it's building. Watch is started, and anytime I make a change, as I think, who was it who mentioned it earlier, Joe Bunn or someone, it'll actually build and run my application for me here as I make changes to my application. Now it's throwing a bunch of errors here because the configuration for my application isn't here in Linux. I was using, what's it called? User secrets to store some of those things. Look at that process tree during the build. I know, isn't that cool? There's a ton of things that it starts and that are hanging out there watching and that are quiet because the web server starts and is managing a series of processes to handle and work with all of your requests. So let me cancel this. Cool. What I want to do, at some point I need to bring over all those secrets and things that I want to load during the build, but I'm not there yet. I don't want to dive too far into this. But for today, look at all this. Now what's it upset about? Let's try and rebuild over here. All right. Oh, look at this. This is what you were talking about, Jobon. That I'm trapped in one process, and another process is kind of hanging on to this. So let me try cleaning my solution so it clears out any of those files that are hanging out there. And now let me try rebuilding. Restore completed, blah, 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 blah. Now, this process of building and actually getting to the debugger, we call that, the team, we call, there you go, my rebuild succeeded. The team calls this the inner loop, and you hear us talk about your inner loop performance experience. And it's this, hitting F5 and getting right into debugging and working with your application, that we're going to be spending a bit of time working on performance tuning. And you've heard some of my colleagues, Damien and some other folks, they want to make sure that we improve that experience in the months ahead. Certainly something that if we can get that working great would feel really nice to show off at an event like Build. So seems alike, and also the NuGet problem has to restore when switching from WSL.NET to VS. You know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. Let me just show you what actually happens under the covers there. So for folks who aren't familiar with this, I'll show you here in Windows just because it's really easy to see. If I go and do Fritz Stream Tools, and you look at the project here, remember when we build our project, it writes into the bin folder, but it also writes into the obj folder, and most folks overlook that obj folder and what actually goes on in there. If we take a look at it, what we have in here now are a series of NuGet pointers that point to the things on disk that are inside those packages that we're going to reference. And when we change runtime, because we're on Linux versus Windows, right? So you have two different runtimes, and there's a runtime identifier you'll actually see embedded in code. And one will be Win10-x64, or maybe Win7-x64. And then there's a series of Linux runtime identifiers out there. And the simplest one is actually, I think, just Linux. But you may see things like Ubuntu 16.04 in there. But these things need to point to the appropriate runtime versions for those low-level libraries that adapt .NET for your operating system. And if the wrong runtime versions are being pointed to because you're in Linux and you're pointing to the Windows versions, it's going to feel bad and it's going to compile ugly. So that's, I believe, what's going on under the covers there and why you might be having that mislinking problem. I think that's all we're going to have time for today, because it is about 2 hours, and I do have a hard stop here. We have some family things that we're trying to do during the week here between Christmas and New Year's. Saturday, I will not be on the stream. As I mentioned earlier, I will be, I'm an in-arena announcer. Thank you very much. For an event, a horse show. I don't live in the middle of the country. I don't live on a farm. I don't take a horse and buggy to work, to the office. I don't live near the Amish. And by the way, it's pronounced Amish. They are about an hour west of me. But my daughters are involved with horse riding. Lies! Oh, look who joined us. Hi, Glenn. And I think we'll be back to this then, not Saturday, but we'll be back on Tuesday. And I owe Glenn's asked me a couple times here if we can do something together on the stream. I know some of you folks have questions, some of the viewers have questions. I think we can do something pretty cool together, working with some of the Linux images that we're building. I did want to get into WebSockets today. I learned a few things watching my friend Suze Hinton's stream on Sunday. She was broadcasting from Australia, and that was really great. Some of the things that she built, using WebSockets, connecting to the Twitch chat room, and behaving like a chatbot. We're actually going to start trying to work together on this Stream Tools project. She would be doing some things with JavaScript, some with Node, and I'll be doing some things with .NET in the project. We're going to do some talking about that probably in the week ahead, and figure out how we want to share and split up and show this as a nice demonstration of how to integrate those tools, not just with Twitch or Mixer, but also with Azure, and make it a nice little bundle that folks can pull down as a utility, as an application in Docker, and just run whenever they need it. Additionally, I've been speaking to some of the folks at Twitch, and they've asked me to get involved in showing how to build extensions, right? Some of the things that we can make interactive on the video, right? Perhaps a poll that's right here, right next to me, that you'll be able to click on, that's embedded on the Twitch view, and pass that data back to an Azure function, to an what do they call it? To an EC2 Lambda, one of those things. We'll take a look. We'll see what we can do there. I think that might be interesting for some of our folks to see and to couple with this type of project, and make it a little bit more interactive for you to interact with me, to ask questions, to make things a little bit more friendly to see and do. So that's what's coming up in the week ahead. If you have any questions, please feel free to go out there to that GitHub repository, create an issue, and we'll talk about it. We'll discuss your question on a future stream here. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Our follower count continues to go up. We're at 305 across the two services. And I'll be back on Tuesday the 2nd. We'll have 2 hours, and we'll see about, that'll be just me on that morning, and we'll see about getting some more guests lined up here for Thursday, and maybe even Saturday morning in the week ahead. Alrighty. That's all from me for now. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you then. Take care.